The billionaires kicked out the millionaires. Now it's got to almost be a billionaire to live here. You know, $1 million, you know, get maybe a lot, but you got to build a house.
If there's anybody that embodies life in Key West, it's David Wegman. Somebody told me that years ago, so when we came down here to do a dispatch from the Keys, well, we had to meet him. David Wegman's one of those old school dudes that are from a generation that's fading away. He has this bohemian independence about him. He's a self-taught artist, a musician, and an author. But most people around here, they're inspired by his days as a sailor. He's captained boats around the world, and he has more seafaring adventures than he can remember. And I tried. We first met up with Mr. Key West at an open mic night in a little funky village just outside of downtown Key West, where he drew a crowd.
Put them on a salad, you can put them in a stew. You can even make your own tomato juice. You can eat them with eggs, you can eat them with gravy. Eat them with beans, pinto or navy. Homegrown tomatoes, homegrown tomatoes. What will life be without a homegrown tomato? You don't have to know the words, just do this. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. La la la. If that's too hard, do this.
David lives in a modest, pretty cluttered artist studio just a couple blocks away from Duval Street. He calls his home the Chicken Preserve. You'll soon see why. The man himself out for a morning bike ride.
Hey,
How's it going, dude?
how you doing?
Good, man. Is this a morning routine for you out on your bike?
Well, I just went and had a decaf.
A decaf.
And over there at Richards,
Yeah.
here's the chicken preserve.
Yes, sir. A lot of very well-known people visit him here when they come to Key West. As you'll see, he's a little quirky, very colorful, and kind of borderline arrogant. We can't blame him for that. He's accomplished a lot. The day I met him, he was working on his bike. Now, if you lived in Key West, you'd know. David Wegman is always on his bicycle. So you sold everything and came down here in the early 70s and bought a sailboat and parked it offshore.
I didn't sell anything. I just took my race car and I got the hell out of Fort Wayne. Never lived there ever again. Never went back, you know. I'd been in Florida for over a year, you know, up in West Palm and different places. And then went on the road with a friend and we did kind of small housing project, you know, putting decks in and stuff like that, aluminum siding, you know, all through the Southwest, you know. Ended up in Texas. And that's when I had a house, wife, new car, 2 kids, and we're both working, you know. I was working 6 days a week, you know, just to make the payments, right? That's because I figured that's what you're supposed to do. But my wife one night came home real late and everything. What's going on? Yeah, it wasn't hard to figure out. She had a boyfriend. That was it. So no more living in the house. I just packed up and I went. Originally, I was just coming down to Florida with a friend to you know, take the race car and do some racing in West Palm Beach. They had a drag strip. But the more I stayed down there, the more I, you know, saw the ocean. I gotta get another wrench here. So one thing led to another. And when I was in Texas, I went back to see my kids, and she let me take one of my daughters. My older daughter, who was only 5 years old. And I went back to Texas with her, and I said, well, this on the road stuff ain't gonna work. So we went back to Florida. And then I ended up down here in Key West. That happened to me 3 times. I'm sorry, but I have a boyfriend. It happened in my lifetime. But, and every time, each one of them came back and said, I'm sorry, but can't we get back together? I go, no. You made a big mistake, because I don't go back. I never will.
Tell me what you just said about the billionaires and millionaires part.
The billionaires kicked out the millionaires. Now it's got to almost be a billionaire to live here. $1 million, get maybe a lot, but you got to build a house.
Yeah, man. You got your spot here. And how long have you been in this house?
I've been here since the early 80s.
Did you build this place?
No, this house has been here 120 years. The little shack in the back, I built that out of shit I found on the street, But there's a couple bedrooms.
Was this an old...
Just an old, like black woman lived here.
Okay.
Back then, rent was only $100 a month.
It has, a total, you're in the Caribbean vibe here.
Yeah. That's all dead people on that wall.
Who do you miss the most in all your other people that are no longer with you in life? Who do you miss the most? Do you have one?
I've got so many good friends that are gone, that people I've sailed with, and they had a boat. I had my boat, but a good friend, he died last year. And another friend, Dink, that had a house here, and his father drove Hemingway to Idaho every year and worked on his farm in Cuba. But he grew up with Hemingway, coming to his house. But he was a wealth of information about Hemingway and Key West, the early days,
So you just embrace the whole chicken thing and just...
Yeah, we leave the chickens, they run free here. They sleep in trees at night, but we don't have to feed them or anything.
No?
They take care of themselves.
It adds charm to the island.
Yeah, I don't mind chickens crowing in the morning. I get up anyhow, so.
They're killing iguanas. You know that? How do you feel about that? Like
iguanas are a big pain in the ass. They shoot them all. They come, Blue Heaven up in the trees until he put up those sails and everything. They would shit right on your plate. You order a nice breakfast, plop. So Richard had to have the guy come and take them out, But they're a big pain in the ass. But the chickens, they don't bother me.
Were there this many chickens when you first came here? Were there chickens at all?
There's more now because we don't bother them here. They know they can. I have the same. There's 4 little chickens and a mother, and then that's the father over there. But they stay pretty close here. They're probably scratching around here somewhere.
So what's today? What's on the rest of your day today? What's David doing today?
Today I got to go to the hardware store, and I'm working on this painting here of my first boat. I'll show you. It's coming out all right. And then I'm doing another one for the gallery. They have
Is this like your bedroom too?
Yeah. This painting, that was my first boat. That was the boat I was in the hurricane. I'm scratching my head there because I don't know nothing about a boat, you know. Boats, I didn't, this was hauled out in the boatyard down right on the foot of Symington there. But here's another painting I'm working on. So, let's see, where's it at? Well, I think it's outside here, but
That's
These
the
are-
one I saw in the book.
yeah, that's in the book. A lot of these, that's in the book. That's an original there. Some of these are original. That's the original of my cabin in Maine. See over there?
Okay.
Hey, look. That's my cabin up in Maine. And that was 12 musicians 2 summers ago playing music on my front porch. There's me and Jimmy playing. That's in St. Bart's.
What year was that?
That was, I think probably 2012, something like that. Yeah.
An artist studio.
Yeah, this is the real deal. Got the fridge under there, you know, for cold beer or whatever. And,
So back then it was a lot different, I'm gonna guess.
well, I met this guy, owned a bar, Howie's Lounge on Duval Street in the 100 block, right downtown. And he said, hey, I could use she could paint signs, you know. I painted his roof, Howie's Lounge, the in place, like 120 feet long. You could see it from an airplane. That's what he wanted. And so I did that job for him. It only took me one day.
And that's when you met, I guess, Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, he came, one day he came and said, hey, there's a new guy in town, Jimmy Buffett. Make a sign. Tuesday and Wednesday night. So I did. I made him a sign, and I heard him play, and I knew I knew at the time, yeah, he really had something. You know, he was going to go places. So that was how he loaned me then $1,000 to buy a boat, which I knew nothing about, and I hauled it out at the local boatyard, which was down by where the Galleon is, right downtown. Back then there wasn't the big hotel scene, you know, like there is now. But yeah, everything kind of started from there. I started to learn to sail, and kept going a little farther and farther. Well, I got in a hurricane, my first boat, and that was the end of that, but I survived. And ended up buying another boat and started sailing to the Bahamas, and then taught myself how to sail. So,
And then you decided, I'm just gonna sail around the world.
well, I kind of had that in mind when I got in the hurricane. I ended up at Venice Beach, Florida. I sailed the boat up on the beach because it was sinking. And after 10 days in a hurricane, it beat the boat up pretty bad. But newspaper came down. They couldn't believe that I was in that storm. But that's what I said. I told the newspaper. They said, "Are you going to keep sailing or are you going to give it up?" I said, "No, I'm going to keep sailing. Once you get the bug, you know." I was hooked, you know.
So can people still come down here without a lot of money, but a free spirit and survive down here?
No, you gotta. If you come down here now, you gotta have money.
Those days are gone.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot for $1 million. You know, that's about all you're gonna get.
Well, how do you feel about the fact that the Keys have become so expensive and corporate and commercialized? When back when you first came, part of the reason you loved it was that it was.
Yeah, but it's not the you know, how many restaurants or bars. It's how the people. I still have really good friends here. You know, so it's the people that make a town.
So when people look at your art after you're no longer with us, what do you hope they feel?
Well, I hope they feel they can look at it and feel inspired, you know, to do the same thing.
What inspires you?
It's you know, all my pictures have a story. You know, there's artists in Key West that they draw pictures like wildland galleries. You know, he draws pictures of dolphins. Not really any story. You know. It's just wildlife. You know, but my pictures, everything. I have a book out. It's called 50 Years of David Wegman.
Did you manifest or did your life evolve unexpectedly in a way that you didn't imagine?
It really took off when I got to St. Bart's, because I had some pastels I did in prison. That's when that's one thing, going to being locked up, having the time to work on some pictures that you know, that, and I did T-shirt designs also, you know. So that kind of got me going. So when I got out, I had all these pastels, and Jimmy Buffett had a hotel. I knew one of the owners. There's 3 owners. And one of the owners was a friend of mine, and he said, "Yeah, I'll hang him up in the hotel." And I went to Antigua. I sailed down 100 miles from St. Bart's for race week, and I came back to St. Bart's 2 weeks later. They sold everything, gave me $5,000. So that's when I started doing I did the Cheeseburger in Paradise. That's a replica of the sign. I made that for my friend Eddie. I was doing those upstairs with, I was doing them with spray cans of paint. I was making T-shirts. That's how I kind of started out in St. Bart's. Having a studio was really good.
So I guess what you're telling me is there was no real plan, it all just happened.
Yeah, one thing led to another. Yeah, but I didn't have to think about the smuggling thing anymore. And I didn't have to think about anything, a house in Key West. I was on the boat again. And then in a place where I could make money real easy, real easy. So, but I'd always come back and I'd go to Maine because I got this land with these friends. We were all sailing around. We bought 100 acres on this island. So this will be my 45th year of driving up there.
Were you in conditions like this when you sailed around the world?
If you sail long enough, you're going to see conditions like that.
And how do you get through that without losing your mind and panicking and freaking out? And you know, you're out there all alone. And I mean, what goes through your mind?
That it's always going to get better. It always. Storms end. They always will end. So you just got to wait it out. Yeah, you know this. You see that table there? Did you see the photograph that's on that table?
I did not notice it. No, sir. Yes, I see that.
That's called the Chesney table. You see, there's the old blue chair over there.
Yes, that's you and Kenny Chesney.
You see Kenny there in the photograph, and me carrying that table.
This table,
Yeah,
yes.
That's the Chesney table. He just, about 3 weeks ago, shot a video in the yard at the piano there. See the piano?
Where?
Sitting on that piano bench.
In your front yard?
Right here. See that piano right there?
Oh, he shot a video here?
Yeah, that's Wyatt.
What's up? I'm Nick.
Wyatt.
Nice to meet you.
Wyatt, he's playing at Margaritaville, but he's having trouble seeing. But when they get these new IOPS, you know, these things, he's going.
You are having trouble seeing.
Yeah, he means I'm partially blind. Nashville.
So you're here. What brought you here? Here, take this for a second.
He's another songwriter like Kenny.
Quick little.
Yeah, sure.
Another songwriter like Kenny. He's just passing through, but I gave him as comfortable as I can.
Yeah,
make
what do
it.
you think about my my hotel room
This
over
is
there?
This is where
for a
you're
week.
staying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the hammock, the fan, and it isn't a rocking chair, but it's got it all. And then the ship's wheel of the Titanic.
So you came to spend some time with him?
I
He
did.
came to work
Yeah, I
at
did.
Margaritaville, but another musician said, you know, you got any place where my friend Wyatt can stay for a week? I said, yeah, I'll fix him, because everything else is rented, you know.
That's right.
So yeah, I'll fix him up a spot.
I just came down from Nashville because, you know, like sometimes it's the same old scene up there. You want something a little bit more relaxed and meet some new people. And I mean, I've had some experiences this week that I would have never thought that I would have ever had, you know.
Like,
So.
give me an example.
Well, I mean, meeting some of the people that I've met, particularly like him, staying up till 4 a.m., hearing about all the stories, all the places he's sailed to, and just going, I can't believe I'm sitting across from somebody like this, you know, who's been all over the world in a boat, and, you know, got to hang out with some of the people that knew Jimmy yesterday at a party, and yeah, I mean, it's just quite an experience, you know. Definitely a vibe.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll leave here with it. I could probably write 100 songs about David's life. Of course, he probably already has. So.
No, go ahead. You have my permission.
All right. Cool.
Is that your suitcase here?
It is, yeah.
All right.
I didn't know I was going to roll out of bed and be in a documentary, but you know, there you go.
What is it now?
This is one I'm working on for the show next week, called Mango Madness. I'm just starting to put the mango in there, or a little girl on a swing, and there's the swing, right there. So I'm just getting out together now. But see, all my paintings have a story, so that'll have a story. But that'll go for, like, I'll put a price of maybe $2,500 on it. You know, the gallery gets a third of that. So.
Can people order your? Do you have a website at all?
Yeah, they could. From OKW, they can order stuff. You know, from my book. You know, the paintings. A lot of the paintings that are in my book. They can order G clays. They're, you know, a couple $100. You know. So yeah. And they have a whole selection. OKW. So. Yeah. My smoker, say, sewing machine. That's all right there, you know, like sometimes I'll put like 4 slabs of ribs in there and do a big party.
What do you sew stuff?
Yeah. You know, I just, a lot of things, you know, the sails on the boat, these little boats, you know, and there's always something to sew.
I'm sorry, do you still have a boat out here parked anywhere?
No, my big boats, no. I got boats up in Maine,
Yeah.
but smaller boats on the lake. But the big boat, that was it. Yeah, but I had it a long time. But I built it myself, 2 years to build it. In St. John, I built it on the beach and put it together and sailed it around the world, 8 years around the world.
If somebody came to you right now and said, David, let's go, let's get on a boat and sail around the world, what would you say?
I'll see you when you get there. I've been there, done it. But now Kenny Chesney, I'm trying to talk him in. He's in 58 at a point in his life. I said, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, because it's later than you thought. That's when you're dead. And you can't do it when you're dead. So he's thinking about it.
Is it the same though if you've got a captain and a fancy boat and you don't have to go through the trials and tribulations and the spontaneous?
You gotta have the money. He's got the money. You got the money, you can do anything. But how to spend that money? See, there's a big difference. Look at there. Buck, 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 buck. Look, there's 4 of them right there. Little up and comers. Buck, buck. Buck, 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 buck. Buck, buck. Look at this.
Oh, it
Come
just
on.
came
Come
right
on.
to you.
Yeah, buck, buck. Come on. I had this rooster here up on the piano the other day, and I filmed it. And I put sunflower seeds up here, and he's going, bang, bong,
And he was playing the piano?
Yeah.
Can he do it right now?
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask to try to get him to do it?
I'd have to put the seeds in
Yeah.
to get him to come up here. It took me a while to do that. And then there was, all my friends were getting rich, you know, like, but mainly through smuggling, right? And then somebody came to my house one night, a friend of mine, and said, do you want to make some real money? And so they said, well, you got to pick up a boat down in Trinidad. So with 3 other friends of mine, we sailed down there and picked up this guy on this freighter, 187-foot freighter, and took it across the Atlantic to Spain, rebuilt the motors, and put this electrical equipment on it. And then on Christmas Day, sailed in through the Straits of Gibraltar, the whole length of the Mediterranean, and then anchored off Cyprus. We picked up the hashish in Beirut, you know, like 10 miles off. And so he had to go over and get $1 million in cash to pay the offload when we got across. 22 tons. Largest seizure ever in America.
Did you guys get caught?
Well, he flew over there, got the money, and then he disappeared in the Adirondack Mountains in the wintertime. Snowstorm, crashed his plane. But his dog jumped out of the plane and turned up 2 days later at a farm. And he had dog tags on. They called his wife. She went up looking. They never found anything. And so since we got the stuff, we finally got out of the Straits of Gibraltar. You know, we were anchored off Morocco for a week because we couldn't. The boat wasn't strong enough to motor against the wind and the current. So then we eventually got across and we got off to South Carolina. The shrimp boat was supposed to come out, and they didn't get paid. They said, we want the money first. So the investors, they said, well, we got these other friends up in New York. Turns out these friends were mafia. And the mafia owned a tug company. So the tug was going to just come out and tow us in, you know. And if we had to, because we were by the time we got up there, we were almost out of fuel. And the mafia, they were busted for something else, you know, mafia, right? They said, if you let us off on this, we'll tell you about something bigger. So they ratted us out. So they were waiting for us. DEA, Coast Guard.
What year was this?
1979. So that was the end of the whole smuggling thing. I come to Key West, my girlfriend picked me up, and ready to get back into things. And she told me the same thing my first wife told me. While you're away, I have a boyfriend. So just by luck it would have it. The boat I still had it. I had sold it to somebody, and he was gonna do a smuggling trip. He disappeared, so they were selling the boat for dockage. I got it back for $800. Hauled it out, painted the bottom. Make a long story short, I left with the checkout girl from my brother's health food store, and we sailed back down to the Virgin Islands. So, and then I ended up St. Bart's eventually. And that's where I had my first show. It was a pretty kind of in the 80s, it was starting to be pretty rich island, you know. A lot of the jet setters from Europe. So, yeah, I ended up, I had a studio above the oldest bar. And
You taught yourself art too. I mean, you weren't formally educated in art, right?
No, I never went to any kind of school, no. But I go by, I grew up in a machine shop. My father had a machine shop. I learned to run, you know, to weld and run machines. And I knew about common sense, practical experience. I knew about how to make something if it broke. And that's what a helpful thing when you have a boat, you know, how to fix it.
You know, I hear like as you get older, you know, people retire and then they get bored and then they get old and then they die. But a lot of people have a hard time getting motivated or inspired as they get older. How do you?
Well, retire if you're working for Ford Motor Company. But if you're an artist, you know, did Picasso retire? No. He painted till the last day, you know, like a good musician, they don't retire. Just keep doing what you're doing, you know. If my paintings inspire people to paint or travel, go places, meet people, then my paintings has been a success.
What defines success to you?
Well, being able to put food in your mouth, have a place to lay down at night. That's pretty good. Or have a way where you can hop, just pull your anchor up and sail any place in the world you want to sail. That's pretty much success, you know. There, fucking, talk about fucking around.
Did you get it fixed?
Finally got, it's like a Chinese puzzle.
that took
Just to
about
get this thing to slide around on it.
that took you about 45 minutes to fix your bike seat.
Yeah. I could have taken it to the bike shop. They would have, that seat's junk. Here, I'll give you a brand new one, $150.
Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed that report from America. So we've been to every state now, and we know so many great places that most people don't know about. If you're trying to figure out where you should move, I can help. Email me, and I'll tell you about how I can find you the perfect place for you to move to. And if you need a realtor, I can help you with that as well. No one else knows America more than Nick and Kim and Mappy. This is my email. You can also find it in the description or on the channel. Okay, so a lot of people email me and they comment and they say, where should I move, Nick? Well, I do consulting for that, as you know, but a lot of people want to do their own research. So I have published an ebook. That's right. Email me and I'll send you my comprehensive and always updated guide on the best places to move in each state. We're always traveling, so we're always updating the book. Find the best places to live in America from the people who have seen more of America than anyone else. That's true. Google it. And don't forget to follow our main channel on YouTube. It's called Nick Johnson. We travel all over the country and show you a way of life in America that you've never seen before. We're the most traveled channel on YouTube now. You should check it out.